Billy, do you have any more hot news?
Well, yeah, I got hot news here. I'm going to give you a couple of bits, and then the rest of it will be. So we got a new show here, the Wrestling Informer, which is exclusive to Keep It 100. As we know, I've left the brand, which is a show. I did a Nitty Gritty Dirt show with Russo, but we're going to continue the same format of that show over here on Keep It 100, and there'll be a lot more stories. So I'm going to take the main bits, not necessarily that are the most important, but the bits that I find are most interesting to discuss with you guys here. All right, so Bray Wyatt, throughout his entire time in the WWE, was sat at number 1 or number 2 in merchandise sales since August 2019, and he's still there now. So that was a 2-year run at the top, even up until this point. The most interesting part of this is that Bray, when he went down to number 2 and having one of his periods at number 2 after he was released, he then went back to number 1 due to the fact that his sale items, people decided to purchase them at the sale price, which put him back ahead of Roman Reigns during the spring. So the WWE have now realized that and have moved Bray Wyatt's items back to full price, to the point where when I was talking about merchandise, I did that for a reason where I mentioned Bray Wyatt, because Bray Wyatt stuff was still there. So Bray Wyatt is still on the WWE website at full price, because when he was on sale, it moved back to number 1. So even though we are here now in September 2021, the guy hasn't left the top 2 since he had merchandise. So when people are giving reasons that this was a financial cut, that absolutely makes no sense, because Bray Wyatt is paid 8% of his merchandise sales, and his merchandise sales way exceed his salary.
So why is he cut?
Creative. Well, the creative disputes continuously with him about him wanting to do this with his character and protect his character with this idea, and not wanting to do this and not wanting to do that. Obviously, you can do that if you're actually there. Once you've been given time off, so he got time off for mental health issues, which centered around, obviously, John Hubert died, but at the same time, he had a kid, and then he had another kid. So she had one kid and got pregnant immediately with a second kid, and it was a bit overwhelming from my understanding. So that was why they turn around and go, take the time off, because your wife has had kid after kid, like back-to-back years. So, yeah, that was the issue with that. So he had all that time off. When you come back to work, you're right to turn around and say how exactly your character needs to be portrayed. When they had him coming in and losing to Bobby Lashley, and he didn't think that made sense. That's right. He's right. It doesn't make sense. But you can't say it doesn't make sense when they gave you 8 months off without causing up a big stir about it. And they also, when you returned, it became 8 months, because when you returned at WrestleMania, they gave you more time off because you weren't in shape, and you said to them, hey, I need another 3 months off. And they gave it to him. No questions asked, no issue. So when when you come back and they've done everything that you asked them to do, you pretty much have to do what they asked you to do. I think that's the main issue.